Hello and welcome to Gin with Gwynne. I am Oliver Gwynne, and this is where I give you my off-the-cuff and unrehearsed thoughts on data philosophy and marketing. This week, I'm talking about things in advertising that just work. I have run adverts for 10 plus years when I was a graphic marketer, and today I work on all the advertising campaigns for our clients, all of the marketing campaigns. And so I have done the hard work. I've learned the lessons the hard way so that you at home don't need to do that. But I've also gone and done a load of research to back up, so it's not just my first-hand experience in that. So, where will we start? We'll start with something obvious: social proof and reviews. Displaying reviews can increase conversion by 270% compared to no reviews, according to Spiegel research. Now, I think this is something that we all know. We all know that the first few reviews that you will put on your site, sort of five, six, will be the most viewed, and but the more reviews you have, the more trust. We all kind of know this, and it's obvious. You want to. A lot of things are not verifiable these days. You're not physically going and doing something, and so the more social proof that you have, generally speaking, the better. The problem that this has created is that people then go and buy reviews. They get a lot of fake reviews, and you can almost always tell them because they're very short, they're very vague. They don't seem genuine. They're maybe saying things in an AI kind of way. And I had one client who bought some positive reviews for Google Places, and Google found him. And what they did is they removed all his reviews that were positive, even though a large portion of them will have been real, and he was left with only the negative reviews. And so, do not buy fake reviews. It's not good. I know that people are less inclined to give you a positive review than a negative one, but you want those positive reviews, and don't just put them on your site without being verifiable. That's the other thing. So if there's a third-party tool you use, or if they're coming from Google, don't just copy a quote and put it on there. Try and make it so that they're verifiable where possible. Number two, food imagery. So if you're doing any kind of event and you're serving food, put food in the advertising. It will outperform the speakers. It will outperform the venue. It will outperform whatever imagery you've got. Put food in there. I've done this for many, many events, and the food one is always a million times better. We had an event recently with Google as our partners, and I thought Google will definitely get the most views on this advert. But no, the food one still outperformed everything else. And so always include food. People want to know basics like are they going to be fed? A couple of interesting facts that I found out about food. So all the research told us that motion was very important when we were selling food in advertising. So pouring orange juice was seen as significantly fresher and more appealing, according to foodnavigator.com. And the same would be of steam rising from a hot beverage or something like that. But more recent research I found by N626 found that there's actually no consistent evidence that implied motion increased perceived tastiness, freshness, or appeal across a wide variety of food types, which I found very interesting. So food is very good if you're selling food. You want to have good quality images. It's really difficult. It's an art form onto itself to get good quality food images. But food can outperform other things. So if you're hosting an event or if you've got food involved, make sure that you include it. But apparently, pouring of food or steam or all these kind of things don't really make such a difference. Next one, red outperforms everything in terms of CTAs, which is a shame if you've not got red in your color palettes. So for a time, the research showed us that green was a good color, and you can understand why. Green is a positive color. Green means go, green traffic lights, all of that kind of thing. It has a ecological friendly association with it, where red we associate with danger, with needing to take action. But it's that taking action that makes red so effective. So HubSpot did a A/B test and found that red outperforms green by 21% in terms of click. Another case study by Smart Insight found that 34% increased conversion from red or a red-orange color compared to green. According to data aggregated from 1.2 million A/B tests, red and orange CTAs generate 32 to 40% higher click-through rates than many other colors, according to Striven.com. And so if you've not got red in your color palette, find the nearest color that would be associated with that. It is a color that will get people to click on things more than green or more than neutral colors. So a design psychology study showed that pre-attentive visual processing of color can significantly affect how quickly UI elements are noticed depending on contrast. So I guess if you've got a really predominant red color, then the red won't stand out as much. But if you've not, then it will. And just in general, visual clarity and contrast in general is really important. Contrast being the key word here. So, a study on color contrast in interface design showed that different combinations of hue, such as red and light, green and light, had very varied perceived contrast effects. According to the Adobe blog, the isolation effect, making a CTA stand out like a sore thumb, is more effective than choosing a universal best color. So, like I was saying about red before, contrast matters more than hue, but still red outperforms green. CTAs, calls to action. So what do you put in your red button? Specific CTAs, so clear, action orientated, reduce decision fatigue, if that's a thing, and make it obvious what the next step is. They can increase conversion rate significantly by up to 161% compared to vague or generic ones. So that would be things like download your free ebook today outperforms read now. Book a call now outperforms book now. And so what people tend to do is on their website, and I'm guilty of doing this. I realized when I did this study that we've done this on the 173 Tech website is they want to have the same call to action on all of their buttons, so they make them more generic. But actually, if you make them slightly longer and more specific, then that can increase your throughput rate, which shows that even though I kind of knew that tangentially, I still haven't implemented best practice there. Video and motion outperform static images. Didn't we all kind of know this? So, in a mobile app study, video ads had a 7.5 higher click through rate than display static ads. A case study by ExoClick found that native video thumbnails, short looping video previews increased CTA versus static in one variation by 61.8%. HubSpot via Aspire did a test where video ads got 20% more clicks than image ads. Now, I do think that of the ad platforms that I've looked through recently, people are not using video as much. And the reason I think is that video tends to sit at the top of the funnel. It tends to be more information led, brand led, more generic. It's introducing you to people. And so, in a world where you are optimizing for conversions, I think it looks like it performs poorly, but it's very, very cheap to get views on there. If you do that ahead of your sort of advertising campaign that's more aimed towards optimization of around action being taken, it's a great brand building technique there. And so video, yes, it can grab people's attention more. It's easier than ever to make video. The video itself needs to be eye-catching and interesting, and you always has to bear in mind that people want to skip after 5 seconds. So it's an art form to get their attention. I know that the opposite train of thought on these things is either what you do is you grab their attention in 5 seconds and then they want to stay longer, and so you capture their interest. I personally have always gone the opposite way and said, make the advert long, don't let people skip it, or make it a minute long. And basically, if they get to the end of that video that they're really interested. If they skip, it's actually a good thing. So there's two trains of thoughts on that, which is either you make it really interesting in the first 5 seconds and then they'll carry on to the end of the video, but that might just mean that they're lazy or they let things run in the background. A lot of people are letting videos run in the background. Don't forget about that. Or what you do is you make your advert quite long and quite detailed, and then you know that anybody gets to the end of that, they're really interested in that, which is my train of thought. Next, urgency and scarcity increase conversion. We were talking about urgency recently and scarcity, and fake scarcity has been a good selling technique, but it's not a long-term sustainable strategy for growing your entire business. But ethical use of urgency and scarcity, I guess ethical here meaning sort of you can do it every now and again, but if you get reliant on that, it's a very bad thing. Your entire business will only attract people who want the deal, and they'll only come to you when there is a deal on. That is the danger. As we all know, it's Black Friday bloody month. Why are we adopting that, England? Let's not do that. But that is the danger with these things, is that you have held up wants and needs, that people are going to buy things in October and they're going to buy these things in September. And they say, you know what, I'll wait a month until there's a deal on. So these people who would have converted naturally are holding off, hoping that they can get an extra 10%, which cannibalizes your profit margins. And so it's very dangerous to get down this route where every month you've got a sale on, suddenly people will only come to you for those things and it will hurt your profit margin. But an ethical use of urgency of scarce turning for a limited time on real stock can boost conversion significantly. For SaaS trials, one guide claimed a 43% uplift in conversions when done transparently. That's by one capture. According to pz.nu, scarcity messaging, limited stock, or only X left can boost perceived value by 20 to 40%, while deadlines can reduce deliberation time by 40 to 70%. CXL recommends that countdown timers, limited supply indicators, and social proof to build urgency. As I say, you want to be careful about that, because if you're not, then what happens is that you need to use those on every single campaign, and that's not where you want to be. That's not where you want your brand to be associated with. And last but not least, multiple persuasive elements compound results. So all of these things that we were talking about, if you layer them on top of each other, it gets better. According to Pixis.ai, combining social proof, testimonials, clear value props, and urgency next to CTAs is a powerful conversion strategy. The more persuasive cues aligned around the decision point, the better the lift. Conversion rate optimization frameworks, e.g., from Cummertly, that's a bad name, emphasize using A/B testing to layer multiple elements, CTA clarity, social proof, UX friction reduction, and value prop in unison to test which element is the most important to you. And I would agree. In what we do, we have the data, we have the user, we have the lifetime value of customers. So not only can we optimize for conversions, which is good, but we can optimize for conversions for people who are going to pay more and understand what is more relevant to them, which is the key thing that unlocks 20 to 40% returns for our clients. And so it's really important. So with all of these things, you have to be careful, because again, if you're layering loads of things around scarcity and deals and all of these types of things, people will recognize this and think, oh my God, they're desperate for my money, or this is a brand that I don't know and they seem to be forcing their way and I've only got 2 days to decide. Some of those things you have to be really careful for. You don't want that people are put off by your attempts to create urgency around them. These have been things that work in advertising. Is there any secret shortcuts that you found to advertising? The last one that I think I shall mention is faces. And this is not just in advertising. I think it's also in exhibition stands and anything that you're displaying. People are naturally inclined to look into people's faces, and in particular, the eyes. The eyes are the windows to the soul, after all. And so having somebody, an image staring at you, is actually really good to grab people's attention, as long as it's at their eye level. I've done that on a lot of exhibition stands. People's faces are what generally draws people in, and unfortunately, it is true that more attractive people like myself will attract people to your advertising more than plain people. I know it's good to have representation in advertising, but the reason that we've had pretty people in advertising for so long is that it does work better. And so human faces will draw people in where appropriate. So, as I was wrapping up, what has worked for you in advertising? What is the secret shortcut that you just found this works every time? Let me know in the comments below. And thanks for watching a Gin with Gwynne.